Next, Jacob, is a little Edgerrin Cooper talk. We only got 10 minutes. I wonder if we got time to get into it here. That'd be great if we could. I wanted to talk a little Edgerrin Cooper because there was a list that came out, and it was 25 under 25 according to PFF. The Packers had 0 players on that top 25 players that are under 25 years old. Okay. Now, keep in mind, Zach Tom, he's over 25 now, right? There's a number of players that wouldn't have been included because they were over 25. However, it is kind of surprising that you don't have any players on that list. How the hell Edgerrin Cooper wasn't on that list is beyond me, because the dude played like the top defensive rookie last year in the NFL. It was him and Cooper, another Cooper DeJean, right? They were kind of the two that stick out the most. But when you look at what Edgerrin Cooper did league-wide, this is pretty fascinating for me. This is over on NFL Pro. And this is what I'm talking about with NFL Pro, guys. Here's Edgerrin Cooper, right? If I can get it to pull up here. Okay, here's Edgerrin Cooper. We can go look at every snap by just clicking that right there. It'll put them in order of the snaps starting in week 1 last year, if we just click on that. Run defensive snaps. Anytime the ball was ran with him on the field, you can click that and watch all 180 snaps. This is why I like NFL Pro. You guys, really, it's worth your investment if you can go get that, if you're a tape junkie like me. Now, here's what I want to point out, Jacob. I've got this sorted by just linebackers. Now, the only problem with NFL Pro, like many sites, they'll put edge defenders, they'll put outside linebackers in a 34 defense as a linebacker as opposed to a defensive end or an edge rusher. So you're going to get some edge players mixed in here as well. Like you see them right off the bat. I think that's Davenport. He's an edge defender. Dante Fowler Jr., Bud Dupree, I'm pretty sure is. Eric Kendricks, I'm pretty sure is a stack backer, so he would fall into the Edgerrin Cooper. I don't know about Darius Mouseau. But if you go by passer rating allowed, which is basically passer rating when targeted, right? Edgerrin Cooper has a 57.1. He's listed as 6th best, but when you remove the edge defenders, he's like top 2 or 3 in the entire National Football League as a stack.
What metric is that? Sorry, the Packers.
That is passer rating when targeted, or passer rating allowed. Yeah. So it's basically the ball, when the ball goes to the guy that you're responsible for covering, what's the passer rating when they target them? And it's sorted by best to worst here, low number wins. Edgerrin Cooper. If I'm looking at this correctly, I'm almost positive that only Eric Kendricks, it would be Eric Kendricks, and I'm trying to see pass rush snaps. That kind of tells the story there, yeah. So Marcus Davenport had minimal, I don't want to say minimal, but he only had 82 snaps last year. So if you were to throw him out as well, which Edgerrin Cooper
you
had
could throw Davenport number 1 there for sure. He only played 2 games.
Yeah, and if you look at the pass rush snaps, you see right here, that tells us tape. So essentially you're looking for the low numbers there of pass rush snaps.
Yeah.
So yeah, he would be probably 3rd best in the league amongst stack backers and passer rating when allowed. So that would suggest, right, Jacob, that, dude, this guy is a pass coverage linebacker, right? Like this dude can stop the pass, that dude being Edgerrin Cooper. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but look at his QBP percentage.
Mm-hmm. So when you look at that from a stack backer, that gets a little bit amplified, right? A little bit inflated, because when you're rushing from a stack backer position, like you'll probably, if we were to sort by that, let's just do it just for craps and giggles. You're probably, oh no, there it is. Now we start all over, gents. That's the way that works. That's why I typically don't do it, but give me just a second and we'll get that pulled back up. Quay Walker's another one that number is inflated, because when you blitz from a stack backer position, it's going to look inflated, right? I just want to point that out real quick, but let me get this pulled back up. Give me just a second. Just talk amongst yourself there for a minute, Jake, like a weirdo.
Yeah, I mean, it's obvious that Edgerrin Cooper was underrated. Atham says because he got injured. Was it injury, or was he just not getting that rookie playing time right away to start the year? Because I know that he had considerably less snaps than the guys that were listed on that, other than Marcus Davenport.
He was hurt in camp, which put him behind the 8 ball.
That's what it was.
And yeah, that you'll notice that by week 5 or 6, his snap count went way up. But still, you got enough snaps for this to apply. Let's go back to quarterback pressure. Hopefully, it doesn't reset on us again. Okay, so quarterback pressure again. You're going to have the edge defenders that are going to have more quarterback pressures, but higher quarterback pressure percentage will probably be stack backers. So if you look at the pass rush snaps here,
can you throw that up on the screen?
Yeah. if you look at the pass rush snaps here, and we go by quarterback pressure percentage, right? Look at the lack of pass rush snaps, right? For Mapu, 9, 3, right? You get down to Jordan Brooks, he had 75. So that was probably a true outside linebacker, I would imagine, unless they just scraped him a lot. Overshone had 82. Zaire Franklin with 50. And these are the highest pressure percentage.
Eric Wilson.
Yep, Eric Wilson.
And Isaiah.
He's a stack backer, right? And again, that's because stack backers' numbers get really, really inflated in that regard. So let's see where Edgerrin Cooper is on this list. You see he's 22nd. But again, he played stack backer. He didn't play edge. So I just want to point out that's why that pressure percentage looks inflated, although it's important. Now, if you sort by passer rating allowed, once again, now you look at the quarterback pressure percentage. That shows you who's better at that amongst these players at the top. And that's where Edgerrin Cooper really pops, which would suggest he's very, very rare. And why I think he's extremely underrated. It's rare that you have someone who is so good at covering the pass and also so good at rushing the quarterback. It's really, really rare. I was going to try to scroll down and see if we could find our boy Quay Walker. Hopefully it don't reset here. Please don't. All right, let's keep going. Where's Quay Walker? You see how Quay Walker is nowhere to be found, right? And it's not the doggone Quay, but it is what it is.
Is he not hiding in there somewhere?
Yeah, that's passer rating when targeted. So, I mean, we're down to now in the hundreds, right?
Wow.
Let's go ahead and skip over to the next page. Just may screw us up, but it'll be all right.
I even saw Ty Summers up there on that list.
Yep. Isaiah McDuffie had we're at 124.1 now. So unless we missed Quay somewhere, there's Eric Wilson. I feel like we missed Quay. He should be on. There's Quay right there. Okay. So Quay is sitting at 100.9. Now, again, we're on the second page. It's showing third best, but it's the second page. So you're looking at in the 80s, I believe it would be. So his passer rating when targeted is 100.9. However, look at his quarterback pressure percentage. It's at 18.2. Just to show you how much better Edgerrin Cooper was at everything over Quay Walker. Now, again, that's not the only thing that's important. Let's now go to run stops, okay? And we don't have run stop percentage. We only got the total number. I like to do run defensive snaps and divide it by run stops, and that gives you the true run stop percentage. However, when you start at the top and we're still showing backers, there's still edge. There's still outside linebackers in the 34 defense mixed into this, so you got to take that into consideration. But when you look at the run stops, okay, and you get down here to where Edgerrin is, he's got 47 run stops, but he only had 180 run stops or run D snaps. So his percentage is extremely higher. When I did this, he was top 5 in the league in run stop percentage, okay, or stop percentage, which basically means you stop the play before they got to the first down. That's essentially what that means, okay? So the point is, when you look at everything across the board with Edgerrin Cooper, I'm telling you, the dude checks all the boxes. Here's what I worry about. I'm scared to death that they're going to start using him on pass rush situations more, and that's going to open up explosive plays down the field because, again, he has the best passer rating allowed of any stack backer on our team and one of the best in the entire league, coming in here at his 51.7.
Yeah.
So this is the problem as a coach, Jacob. That's why I want to bring it up to you is like, he's good at stopping the pass, right? He's good at coverage, but he's also good at rushing the quarterback. Where do you find that balance, you know? And we need Quay Walker to step up big time. And again, I think personally, even though Quay Walker's passer rating when targeted is very low, right? It's in a bad way. His ability to cover the seam, that's his superpower, in my opinion. When they ask him to flip his hips and play Tampa 2 and cover that seam, he's as good as anybody in the league. 6'4" frame, blazing fast. Now, he can't catch the ball. We've seen that. It's rare that he'll actually catch the interception. However, and that's probably hurting his passer rating when targeted as well. I just want to point out that what I would like to see happen is Quay Walker be responsible for covering the seam on those Tampa 2 looks and let Edgerrin Cooper eat underneath with the curl flats, the hook curls, the things like that. Because that's where Quay – he struggles in diagnosing the play. And Edgerrin Cooper, if you listen to the coaching staff, they think he does it too well. And you think, how is that the case? Because he'll just shoot his shot and say, the hell with the scheme. I'm getting in there and making the play. And more times than not, he makes the play. That's why I said, I know he wears 56. And listen, this is a strong comparison to make. But when you see the way he attacks the football, that's how LT attacked the football. Lawrence Taylor would attack the football with reckless abandon. The problem is LT never – it was so rare that you see, oh, man, he was too aggressive there. He always made the play. I worry that Edgerrin Cooper, I'm putting too high of a ceiling on him, even mentioning him in the same conversation with Lawrence Taylor. But nonetheless, I've never seen the Packers draft a linebacker that's played at the level that Edgerrin Cooper has. I'm just saying. So,
which brings me to my next point, gentlemen. Don't smoke crack.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. No, I mean, that's a great point. And it is shocking a little bit that they wouldn't be the 25 under 25, because I remember distinctly hearing certain NFL callers being like, hey, Edgerrin Cooper, he's playing like a future Hall of Famer. And I was like, yo, don't say that out loud. Like,
I think Brady said something last year too that was like off the charts about it. So
yeah, and I mean, when you look back at his highlight reel, like you said, it is insane how. I mean, I played linebacker, and the way that, like, that first step they always talk about, you want to take that first step kind of downhill to play the run, and then it's reacting after that. He, like you said, he just seems like almost like he's a mind reader, like he's got a crystal ball, like he knows exactly where the play is going to end up, and once he decides he's shooting, he shoots, and he's evades blocks. Like you said, I think that's another thing he differs from Quay. When I watch Quay take an angle, it seems like he runs into every single blocker that he can on the way to get to the ball, whereas Coop just he slips and he ducks and he moves, and it's effortless. He takes the lowest amount of, like, he goes from A to B and he doesn't let anything stop him. If he can go in a straight line, he will, but if he has to, like, shuffle, do a little misstep here and there, he can do it. And he's just so good once he finishes. He's a finisher, as they say.
So when you look at just the Packers linebacking core here, right? Edgerrin Cooper, 57.1 passer rating allowed. Quay Walker, 100.9. Eric Wilson was 110.2. And Isaiah McDuffie was 124.1.
Yeah.
So I don't know how they're going to use Colin Oliver. And we know Tyron Hopper was a third-round pick. They're probably expecting big things out of him, I would imagine. I love that they signed Isaiah McDuffie back because he has been a good special teams player, and you got to build that floor somewhere. They chose him over Eric Wilson. Maybe they felt like his ceiling was a little higher, and Eric Wilson's got to start slowing down at some point. But what it comes down to is you don't have another dominant linebacker in this room right now, per se. That's why I feel like you can't waste Edgerrin Cooper rushing the quarterback, because if you do, you're going to see the passing defense take a dip in the middle of the field, in my opinion. So I want to see Edgerrin Cooper as that Mike backer. Now, the Mike is going to cover the seam most of the time. That's the 3, typically the Y on a Tampa 2. It could be a trip set covering the seam on a Tampa 2. In that case, it's very interchangeable. So maybe you have to force Quay into the Mike to make sure he's the dude covering the seam. And they may not even run Tampa 2 this year. They ran it a lot last year. But when you look at it, it's not just who's playing inside linebacker, who's wearing the green dot, who's the Mike and the wheel. It's what's the matchup that week, and how are you going to use these guys in terms of deployment in that regard. So I just want to point that out, that I know there's some people that are going, man, just let Edgerrin Cooper rush the quarterback. He's good at it. This number is inflated, guys. If he goes to playing edge and rushing the quarterback, you're going to see that number dip under 15% like that. And if it dips under 10%, people are going to be calling for his head. I think where they've got him at is just right. And when you bring in Colin Oliver, it's not that drafting Colin Oliver is saying this guy's going to be a stud, but you got to reverse engineer. You got to – what is Hafley thinking to take a smaller hybrid linebacker like Colin Oliver in the 5th round, I believe? Why did they do that? It makes me think, and I could be wrong, and every year we try to find a new thing, Jacob, do we not? Every year we go, What's the one thing we're going to be talking about this year, right? It makes me wonder, is Jeff Hafley starting to think, we need a Leo, we need a Viper, we need a hybrid backer to kind of – that could be Edgerrin Cooper in this defense if you want to put him boundary side. Like, that's how Viper operates, I know, within Notre Dame's defense, and it changes a little bit from here to there. They like to put the Viper on the short side of the field and let him play a little choice aspect in that defense and kind of shoot his shots when the time calls for it. On the tape with Colin Oliver, when we get to that Chalk Talk episode, which is ready, and I'll keep dragging them along, with Colin Oliver, it kind of felt like he played a little bit of that Leo. In Tennessee, they called it Leo. In Notre Dame, they call it Viper. And I think Hafley has referred to Viper in his college days as well.
Mhm.
So just something to keep an eye on. I'm not saying that's what Hafley's going to do, but I think it's on the table that they might look to shift a little bit and have a little hybrid backer this year. We'll see.
Yep.
So, a great point, Holmes. Holmes MD1 says, don't forget about free agent Simmons. That's another guy, you know. I don't know. Listen,
former 8th round overall draft pick, I believe.
Yeah, 8th overall. Yeah. So like when people talk about him, they talk about him like he's a bust. He's a bust for the 8th overall pick. But guys, if he had been taken in the 3rd round, he probably would have got re-signed on the teams he's been with, and people would be like, "Oh, this guy's what a great value pick." The fact that he was taken as the 8th overall pick, and again, I'm skeptical. I want to be very, very honest with you guys. I hope he's better than Cooper, but I'm very skeptical that Simmons is going to come in and just dominate. You know, but can he be better than Quay? It's possible. Can he be better than Isaiah McDuffie? I think he already is. So again, you raise the floor with that signing, and it's a minimum contract. So we went a little long there, Jacob. I apologize, but man, I'm just really excited about Edgerrin Cooper. I am, man. I think he's a stud. I think he's very underrated, and I think he should have made that list of top 25 under 25. However, don't get me wrong. When you look at that top 25 under 25, it's a hell of a list. It is strong. So.
Yeah. Doc's just putting a little cap on the Isaiah Simmons talk. He says he ran a 4.39. I think when he finds his home here, he may be pretty. That's insane.
It's wild. Yeah, they were saying. I remember in that draft class, and again, I want to be clear. He never lived up to these expectations. They said he could play linebacker, stack backer. He could play edge rusher. He could play safety, and he could even play cornerback. That's how versatile he was.
Wow.
Now, here's the issue. He hasn't done any of those well.
Yes.
It's kind of
like
do
everything very poorly, but I can do it all.
And maybe I have confidence that Hafley can pull it out of him, though. What Hafley did with Edgerrin Cooper last year was phenomenal. And they keep curbing the enthusiasm, just like they're curbing the enthusiasm with Zach Tom. And now it's getting blown up in the media like Zach Tom is he not going to get a contract? Is he not going to get that? Guys, calm down. This is how that game is played. It's a contract year. And the worst thing you can do for a young football player that's great, and this is more applies to Edgerrin Cooper than Zach Tom, is just blow them up like they're the greatest thing since sliced bread. That's when people get complacent. So it's not just the coach's job to put in the proper playbook, put in the proper scheme, and coach the players up schematically. It's also their job to keep them motivated throughout what is now a 12-month process. It's not just just during football season. These guys they're having to be motivated year round. So, all right. Anything else, Jacob? Anything at all, bro?
Nope. I think we covered a lot.
All right. Well, let's get out of here, man. Wanted to give you guys a little double episode here. I apologize. No show last night. Again, we were at the nephew's graduation. We got the graduation party kicking off here in about an hour. So I got to go get cleaned up and ready to go for that. You ready to go? We'll be back tomorrow morning, same time, around 8:30 a.m. Central. If me and Jacob get in here a little earlier and we're both settled in, we may start a little earlier like we did today. I've seen the numbers start to blow up as we went further along, but obviously you guys can go back and watch it. And we appreciate everybody in the chat. This was a fun episode. Also, shout out to everybody in the Patreon community. Appreciate y'all supporting the show. It's the best way to support what we do here at Packers Total Access. You can join by going to patreon.com/Packer Fan Total Access. $3 gets you access to everything on the site, just a way for us to provide a little extra, little bit of extra